People just need to understand the way that the whole system works, that there are special enrollment periods if they're not eligible to get coverage right now. They come up through the year, and that they just should call one of the nonprofits that provides the assistance, unbiased information, rather than someone that is driven by whether or not they're going to make some money off of it. Well, I could not see everybody, and as a result, I started doing a lot of enrollments just on the phone, which is difficult because we like to get a written consent for sharing information. So I'm getting verbal consents and then sending them the paperwork afterwards, getting their information, doing the input in the enrollment application. And it's easier for me because I've seen this over and over again. And person first going through that, it's so unfamiliar that the wording is confusing. It's very precise and specific and part of the lexicon of the call center of the ACA. And it's like doing taxes, you know, that if you've done it before, it still decays and there are changes every year. So it's not intuitive, and it's a struggle for individuals who are not accustomed to using computers, for instance. And you know, it's surprising how many people in the Valley don't have email accounts, don't use computers regularly. The schedule was filled with appointments almost throughout the entire 45 days. People were calling and asking questions that they hadn't asked before. Not everyone knew right away that the deadline had been moved up this year, because that was planned for next year. So here toward the end, of course, there's been a surge of individuals, and it's telling because yesterday the wait on the call center was about an hour and 11 minutes at the end of the day, and they actually set up a wait line so that individuals can call in, get a place in line, and even if they don't get it finished by midnight tonight, can still register because they made a good faith effort. So, and you know, I'm looking here at Virginia. So far, and this was probably a week ago, it's 203,000 individuals had enrolled in marketplace plans. Cumulative nationwide, it is 1,378,000 plus new consumers signing up this year. There's almost 5 million people that have signed up, and that is as of December 9th, so there's still another week to go on that. And a number of individuals are going to be given an opportunity to have a special enrollment period. Those are the individuals who lost coverage from a company because that company pulled out of their area and now have to go to a new company. It's giving them a little bit more time to analyze what their options are, because the networks will be different. And it's sometimes these companies have not been in their particular areas, so it's hard for them to know which ones to select. It's going to vary depending upon their circumstance. It looks like everyone's going to get until 31 December, but in some of the eligibility notices, I'm seeing dates as late as the end of January. Because they hear news from states that are different than Virginia, states that have expanded, what they're hearing from West Virginia is a different situation than in Virginia. So they're not going to be eligible for Medicaid because of us not expanding, but they're hearing news from West Virginia, a state that has expanded, and their situation is completely different. Complicated too by the fact that Congress hasn't passed the funding for CHIPS, so there are a whole lot of people who don't know whether or not their children are going to be insured after the end of January. The process is that if the family looks like they're eligible for Medicaid, the Market Center will send an application to Virginia for those individuals that are eligible. That means that they can't get enrolled right now. They have to wait for the state to make a determination of whether or not they're Medicaid eligible. If they're Medicaid eligible, no harm, no foul, except if funding runs out, and then they're not Medicaid eligible. And they'll have to then enroll their kids in their plan later on. That'll be another special enrollment period. But that's a burden on individuals. This isn't something that people have at the front of their mind every month when they're working paycheck to paycheck and getting by, taking the kids to basketball practice, the Boy Scouts or whatever else. It's not like they have time to sit down every day and check their account in the marketplace to determine whether or not further action is required to ensure that their children have access to health care. Not significantly. I do have people come in that say that they're enrolling only because of the mandate. About half of them probably would have enrolled anyway because they have health care needs and that they could not afford insurance without it. They're just making a statement of some sort. What they're finding is that unless they enroll through the marketplace, and to a great extent, they couldn't afford insurance. And if they have a requirement for access to health care, they're going to go whether or not there's a mandate. Anyone who does a risk analysis, and that's what this is all risk analysis, will know it's not very smart to leave yourself open to the potential for bankruptcy from a single incident. One car wreck, one accident, a heart attack can ruin you. And the plans that were available before the ACA and the plans that are available off market today still have annual limitations. And in many cases, they have quarterly limitations because they are 3-month plans. You have to renew every time, and they can be turned down because there's nothing that keeps them from considering pre-existing conditions. They can change rates, they can do all kinds of things to you. So those who have dealt with the marketplace know that there's reliability and consistency. The issue is that because things have changed so much, the landscape has changed for the price of policies and access to care, the changes of insurance companies. That's unfamiliar territory too. Again, another reason why they need to come to an assister of some sort, either at one of the health centers or to a navigator.